The next pass I'm going to look at creating is going to be to isolate the Mulcor character. So we'll call this one the Mulcor body pass. And for this, we just need the Mulcor geometry. So if we look in our rifle effects rig and we begin to navigate down to the parts that make up Mulcor, we can even include the gun in this render pass as well. So I've got the jogging suit, the geometry, and of course I'm sure there's other goodies here. So we've got the brain, which we don't really need, the left eye, the pupil, etc. Let's include the brain, why not? And we'll put those into their own partition. So we'll call this the Mulcor partition. And we can even drop the rifle in there, as I mentioned earlier. So under the rifle, SRT, we'll take the hero rifle, and there's the trigger. We'll drop that into the Mulcor partition as well. Okay, so everything looks pretty good there. I can actually see there's one little object right here that I don't really want to remain visible, the actual bullet casing that I'm using as my instance. So I can either move it out of the way, or if I press F3 and access its visibility attributes, I can actually tell it to be hidden, instance master hidden. So it will be hidden, but its instances will not be. So you can actually see that it's hidden. Okay, so I don't really need to worry about that. Okay, so when it comes to the body pass, the character is visible, but of course everything else is not. So I can just hide everything else. Now in the body pass, I definitely want to have the muzzle flash working, and I also want to have the key and fill light working as well. So everything looks good here. So let's go on and build a new empty pass again. And this time I'll create a pass for the actual casings. So I'm going to call this the casing pass. And for the casings may be affected by all three lights. So it's important here, we'll take the actual casing with us. Let's see. I'll take the casing, the bullet casing, because we don't want it to be hidden. I'll put it into its own partition. So we'll call this the casing partition. And I'll add to it the point cloud, the muzzle flash, not the muzzle flash, the cartridge ejection point cloud. Okay, so we should have two elements in our casing partition, and of course I just want to hide everything else. So the only thing we should actually see here are the bullets, which we do. Okay, so that takes care of our casing pass. So we've got the BG building, we've got the terrain, the Mulcor body pass, and the casing. And let's go and isolate some of these other elements now. I'll create a new empty pass. And in this one, we'll make this one the tracer or the laser pass, whichever one you want to call it. And again, we just want to isolate a few elements here. I'm not really using anything as instances, so I can actually just select the bullet tracer itself, the point cloud, partition it off. So we'll call this the tracer partition. And I can hide everything else. The partition, not the actual pass. There we go. So if I draw a render region, all I get are the actual bullets. Last but not least, we have to deal with the muzzle flash. So we'll make one last pass. And we'll include the muzzle flash. So there's the muzzle flash, partition it off. And I'll hide everything else. Let's make sure it works. Yeah, we're getting everything working there. We don't actually have any shadows for any of these passes, so one of the last things I can do is to make a shadow pass for all of our objects that we can integrate.